Welcome to the High Rankings podcast, brought to you by Dispensary-Growth, the preeminent SEO agency only working with premium cannabis dispensaries. In our episodes, we bring you the most up-to-date strategies and tools for your dispensary's SEO game plan so that you can reach the top of the search engine rankings and capitalize on your growing organic traffic to increase your sales. A light-hearted mix of our daily lives and SEO knowledge will leave you laughing and informed so that you keep coming back for the next episode.
Just as we're about to go to record this podcast, my dogs decide they're going to start barking. So that's that. Anyway, welcome back to another episode of the High Rankings podcast with me and the other guy.
Hey.
With video today because one of us was working this morning and hosted a podcast with the ever so lovely Lisa Williams. I fucking love. Oh, well, I don't care. I fucking love Lisa Williams. She's just so easy to talk to, and she has the best ideas. So Lisa Williams from the TOKE Agency, and she also has two other companies that we discussed briefly. Her website is the tokeagency.com, and they obviously specialize in marketing within the cannabis space. She's fantastic. She's so easy to talk to. She has some really great ideas. So we were talking about 420 coming up, and we were talking about how to prepare for that. And also one of her specialties is loyalty and customer loyalty. So we kind of went into detail about that, how you can get customers in your door before 420, and then how to retain them after 420. So one of us did that this morning.
Well, that's cool because
the other one didn't do shit.
Was doing a bunch of shit, dealing with.
That one says he was doing a bunch of shit, but was probably not.
Okay. Anyway,
my morning went to crap before anything. I just got back from my trip yesterday, to Savannah.
Mind you, you texted me at 7 a.m. Mountain Time, bitching about it.
My morning just went to. I was like, I don't even know if I'm gonna make a podcast. You know, when you get back from like a trip, like you need a day to just get your bearings back in life.
Yeah.
So I got back like later yesterday than I thought I was going to do. Not late, but later than I thought I was going to do. And Monday typically in my house is the day when I have a whole house to myself and I clean my whole house and I do all of my laundry. And of course, that's not done because I didn't get back. And then this morning I woke up and my first thought was that I was sick. And then just the whole morning, there was an appointment that showed up that was supposed to be tomorrow. And it was one of those mornings. But I am back now. I already miss Savannah desperately. I just need about 5 million. Because there's a few houses for sale that are in historic, like in or around the squares, historic downtown. I won't live anywhere else in Savannah. I need to be historic downtown. None of them are directly on the square, but that's okay. But there's a few that are really close to the square. There's a house right now that just went, like it's under contract, and it's right by the Mercer Williams house on Montgomery Square. That's 3.5 million. It needs work.
Is this where we did the tour, ghost tour?
We did the ghost tour around a few squares, but we did go around Montgomery Square, yes.
Sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, and it obviously went by Jones Street, which is where my Airbnb is. But anyway, let me show you the most successful part of my trip. I prepared myself.
Whoa, look at that.
That's 11 plus 12.
9? Okay, I was going to guess 9.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12.
Goodness gracious.
Went to my favorite bookstore twice, and then the other bookstore. Well, there's more than that, but I went to my other bookstore that I go to once. 12. But also while I was away, these ones came.
What'd you get me?
I didn't get you shit. I did get you potentially a ghost story, maybe.
Ooh, okay. So yeah, you sent me pictures of those creepy ass dolls. First of all,
you want that story or you want the in story?
Fuck that. Fuck those little dolls, because those little dolls were so creepy. I've always thought dolls and like little, not so much. I used to kind of be scared of clowns, but it's just dolls. Dolls just creep me the. Ugh, they're just
especially because they're in a kid's room. Like,
Spooky.
yeah.
Yeah.
So there's two stories, and I don't really know that they're like stories, okay? Because like it wasn't like, oh, I went past the Colonial Park Cemetery and saw a boy running around the cemetery and then climbing a tree and jumping down. That video is literally on YouTube, by the way. I will send you a
What
link
is
to
it?
it. It was recorded in like 2008 or something. This family were in Savannah and they were recording the cemetery. And on the video, you see what looks like a boy, and he's like in the cemetery, wandering around the cemetery. And then this boy climbs a tree. And so he's up in the top of the tree, and then he just jumps down from the tree, but like quicker than he should, if that makes sense. Like his speed is quicker than it should, and then he's gone.
No,
That's
not.
on YouTube. I'll send you the link. So
That's a no.
So I don't have any of that. But so my girlfriend and I, we toured the Andrew Lowe house. And it was the first house we toured. We toured it in the daytime, and we were able to see downstairs and upstairs. And they kind of briefly touched on, somebody dying in the house, but it wasn't like that wasn't the point of that tour in the daytime. Typically, the daytime tour is about the architecture and the family that lived there, and then nighttime tours, if available, will go spooky. And I kind of knew people had died in there, but I didn't really think anything of it. But like you go up the stairs, and the first room is a bedroom, and then the second room is another bedroom, but it's like a child's room. And I sent you pictures. In the child's room, there's like two beds in there. One's quite small. And then there's like a bunch of dolls. At the front left is two what looks like twin boys.
Nope.
And then towards the back of the room is this girl that's like behind a tea set table. And then at the front is a baby in a crib. And I took pictures and I put it on my Instagram story of like, ooh, creepy. And I sent you, I don't know if I sent you the dolls then or later. So that was like that was Saturday during the day. And we had booked a ghost tour, trolley ghost tour, which is great, by the way. If you ever get a chance to do it, it's a good time. And we knew that they made two stops. Like it said, like, you stop in two places and you get exclusive nighttime access to these places. But we didn't know what the places were. And it just so happens that one of the places was the Andrew Lowe house. Now, my friend, she's not as mobile as I am. So for this one, she decided to sit it out. She sat in the courtyard area because the stairs going up, there's quite a lot of them, and it was quite difficult for her. So she didn't come up with me. But he had been telling her, the tour guide had been telling us before we go in, oh yeah, there's this doll's room. And if this one particular doll, his eyes should be shut, but if they're open, like, woo. So
Says that, or
huh?
do you think he just, Do you think he just says that as like part of the tour to like kind of?
I don't know. That was the weird thing because he said it, but I wasn't paying attention to like which doll he meant. And it's like, yeah, sure. No one's going to see the eyes open or whatever they're supposed to be. No one's going to see that. Whatever. I don't think anything of it. Right. And so we go in and I take pictures, and I this time I took close-ups of the doll and closer ups of the twins, I think. I can't remember. So anyway, come out, everything's fine. Oh, and then we find out like the rooms across the hallway, two people died in this room, somebody died in this room, whatever. I never felt a creepy vibe though. No creepy vibes. Um, and so I go back downstairs and I was showing my girlfriend these pictures, and she turns to this tour guide and she says, which one was supposed to have the eyes closed again? And he says, oh, that's the baby at the front. Its eyes are supposed to be closed. So I zoom in on my picture and its eyes are open. And I go, so this isn't right. And he goes, no, that's not right. And I'm like, yeah, you're messing with me. And he goes, no, no. I go, come on now. I'm like, you're just saying that because it's a ghost tour. And he looks at me square in my face and he goes, if you don't believe me, why would you ask me? And I was like,
Whoa.
So anyway, I go back to look at my pictures from earlier in the day, and for me, it's really inconclusive because I didn't get a close up of the baby earlier in the day. So it's inconclusive for me as to whether they're shut or open. But you looked at the pictures and you said that you thought they were shut.
Yes. And they look creepy, and I clicked on it to like populate it, and then I just like clicked. I was like, no, I'm not even.
Yeah.
I'm not even
So
fucking.
that was creepy dolls. And then the only other weird thing that happened. So the first night we stayed in the DeSoto Hotel, which is it's nice. Walls are very thin. But it's nice. It's like a fancier hotel, I suppose. And then we moved to the Eliza Thompson Inn. And the reason that I know about the Eliza Thompson Inn is because you and I and your girlfriend had done the tour in September, and we had stood directly across from the Eliza Thompson Inn, and he had said that this was haunted and that they had seen a soldier and also a young girl in there. And I was like, I'm staying in that inn. And you're like, you're crazy. Why would you do
That's a
that?
nope.
So we get to the inn, and it's so weird because our bedroom door literally opened onto the street. It's 3 stories in, and there's the original house, and then there's a courtyard, and then at the back, what was the carriage house was raised, and they replaced it effectively, and that's bedrooms. But we were in the main house, but we were on the lower floor, and our door opened right to the street. Very weird, but also cool. Directly 3 floors above us is the room. So there's a bedroom, the room, the haunting room. Then there's another bedroom, and then there's us. No creepy vibes. Never got a creepy vibe, not one time. Which is disappointing. But anyway, no creepy vibes. So the first night we were there, which was the Saturday night, I did not sleep that great. There were 2 beds in the room. I was in the right bed. My girlfriend was in the left bed. Between us, there's a nightstand, and there's like a lamp and an alarm clock. And the alarm clock has like the red digits on it.
Yeah.
So they really stand out. And I woke up like periodically throughout the night, and not for any reason. I just was a night where I wasn't sleeping super great for whatever reason. But something woke me at 4:04. And I know it was 4:04 because I turned over and looked at the clock. And I heard what I described to you in my text message as maniacal laughter. And instantly, green came to mind. The color green came to mind. And there was nobody, it wasn't like there was talking before, then laughter, and talking afterwards, or it wasn't like the laughter carried on down the street as if somebody was like laughing at a joke and they were walking past the window, because obviously we're on the ground floor. There wasn't any conversation. It was a burst of maniacal laughter and then nothing. And the color green is so, when I think about the laughter, green came to mind. Couldn't tell you why, no clue, have no idea who, why, when, or what. Just that's it. That was it the whole time.
But not so like laughter, like it was next to you.
It
You
was
said
like
not.
it was in the room. Yeah. It was like a very sudden burst of like, but short burst of laughter, but like with an evil twinge to it, and the color green.
And your friend didn't hear it?
Mhm.
No. Um, see, this is why I wanted a GoPro like in the corner of the room
Yeah.
for stuff like this. That is so fucked. Um, I remember one time when I was really young, I was with my parent. Well, obviously I'm really young. I think
Really young? Is that what you said?
I was like 8, 7, maybe. And I heard like a snake hiss, like right next to my head, like basically in my ear. And I go and I ran and I ran to my mom's bed. And like I was like older than I should have been. And my mom put her hand like on my chest and she could hear my heart. She goes, "Oh my God, like what happened?" I told her. And that was like that still sticks out to me to this day. But that's as close as I've heard to any creepy like ghost noises, I guess you can call it. But yeah, maniacal, that's fucked. That's like, that's a no for me. So did you go back to bed?
Yeah. I mean, I was in bed, so yeah, I fell back to sleep. But like we walked through Colonial Park Cemetery. Now we did do that in the daytime. That's the cemetery that you and me and your girlfriend walked past on the tour.
Yeah.
And not creepy, I think just sad. Because also basically almost everywhere you walk in Savannah, you're walking over dead bodies.
Yeah.
Um, we walked around there, and then yesterday before we left, we went and toured the Mercer House again. Well, she's never toured the Mercer House, and she said it was her favorite, and I love the Mercer House. But then we went and drove out to Bonaventure Cemetery, which is stunning. And it's where like Johnny Mercer is buried, and the Telfair family, I think, who are very well known in Savannah. And it's like, what did she say, 100 acres? It's massive,
Oh,
stunning. And she said to me, she's like, I didn't get any creepy vibes in there. It was calm. Very calm is what she said she felt in there. So no, there's no real like creepiness. I found some really great places to go like eat, and oh my God, I found this artist that I love as well. We toured oh God, the Sorrel Weed House, which was also on our tour. It was the one where they said the lady jumped from the balcony because she found that her husband was cheating on her with one of the slave girls. That was on our tour. We toured that. And in there, in the hallway, is this painting by this Impressionist artist. His name is Stephen something. And he paints only with a knife, like a palette, like a knife palette. So it's all textured. And I fell in love with this painting. It's the painting of the Sixpence British pub. And it's gorgeous. I fell in love with it. So then I'm looking him up. Well, then later that day, we go and we eat in the Sixpence pub because I've been wanting to eat there for a while, just because it's British, whatever. And there's a ghost in there named Larry, but that's another story. And I go in there and there's like 8 of his paintings in there. And I desperately, desperately want one of his paintings now.
You didn't get one?
Yeah, the smaller ones are like, I didn't get one because I'd like to see his actual gallery and see what he has, but it's all Savannah, it's all downtown Savannah. All of the paintings he had in the pub were of the pub from the outside, which I love, and that's one I fell in love with at the house, but I'd like to see what else he has. But I would like to get one. It's on one of his paintings is on my wish list now. Yeah.
That'd be cool to go to like one of his galleries then,
He has a gallery downtown. I just didn't have time to.
like an event, like a Friday or Saturday if he has like new stuff coming out.
Yeah. Get
That'd be
some Halls d'Ivoire and some wine.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Uh,
Yeah,
yeah, as far as those dolls, I keep thinking about that text. You sent me 2 of them,
I did. I think I sent you the one of the one at nighttime, and then I think I sent you the one during the day. I think that's what I did.
and both times I was just like, no, no, not happening. Nope.
No.
Those creepy ass dolls, not my thing. Not for me, fam.
Did you show it to Austin?
Nope.
I wanted
Nope.
to get her perspective on it. Because remember when she showed us her picture in the pirate house and we were both like,
Yeah,
no,
I was like, no.
there's nothing on it.
Austin.
I felt so bad. And that's why I'm like, I can't say one way or the other. I do know that the eyes were absolutely open in the picture I took at nighttime because I have a close up, but I couldn't tell you about the daytime. And I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh no, for sure it was spooky. I don't know.
I
I
will.
don't know.
I'll ask her and see what she thinks of that. But
Yeah.
yeah, she doesn't do very well with like scary stuff, like Blair Witch or like what's that movie where I think they had GoPros in like the corner of the rooms and it was like paranormal activity.
I haven't seen it. I don't watch scary movies though. I'm not trying to be scared.
I thought it was pretty good. Yeah, she does not do well with that.
I just like the history of everything. I want to know why people think something's haunted. Like what happened here that makes you think it
Yeah.
could be. I'm not trying to like go and get a lock in and do ghost hunters and stuff. That one guy that holds that ghost hunters show that just yells all the time at the ghosts. Like
Yeah.
that's not my jam at all. Not my jam. But anyway, my book buying was successful. I got a bunch of books. This one might be my favorite. Well, no, it's not my favorite, but I bought it literally because of the name of the book. It's called The British Invasion of American English, which when you think about it makes absolutely no sense, right? How could the British invade English, the English American?
What
But
year
I'm
was,
very excited to read that one.
what year did that come out?
I don't know. It's a hardback, so I'm guessing recently. One moment, please, and I'll tell you. 2024, last year.
Oh wow.
And then I took some recs from a bookseller in East Shaver. This one she says is really good. It's called Pet. It's a thriller. And then the other one she recommended, I've seen a lot and I'm terrified to read it because I know it's dark and it's based on truth. It's reformatory.
Mm.
And yeah. And then she also recommended this one, which is a thriller.
Okay. What are you going to read first?
Well, I've already read this one. This is set in Glasgow. Poor little boy stood no chance in life with an alcoholic mother who set fire to her own house. And it's a hard read. I fell in love with that one. These ones were recommended, this one particularly. So I just finished reading two books by a guy called Chris Whitaker, who wrote All the Colors of the Dark and We Begin at the End. And I literally had a book hangover. I read All the Colors of the Dark and immediately read We Begin at the End and had a massive book hangover. And I've been chasing that dragon of his writing since then. And that's why she recommended this. But this only because of the character, because of how the characters are written. So I'm tempted to read this also so I can get it out of the way because I know it's going to be dark and unpleasant. And a lot of that's because it's true. Even though this is like a fiction novel, but it's true what happened to this boy. So I don't know. But I have 12, I got 11 because I already read that one. So actually 10 because I have already read The Handmaid's Tale, but I might reread it. So
Gotcha.
yeah. And then these four showed up.
I'm reading about NHL stories.
Oh, okay. So enough about my life. Did we discuss the hockey game?
Oh yeah, Canada won.
No, we did not discuss it on the podcast. Last time we talked about it, America and Canada were going to play together in Boston. I asked you if Canada were going to win, and you were like,
it went into overtime. It was a great game. That Brady Kachuk, he's an absolute honey badger. He almost won the game in overtime. The goalie made a ridiculous save. He should not have made that save. And then I think it was 5 minutes later, Canada won.
Was it a good game? You know how the Super Bowl wasn't a good game because it was like a washout. It was a good.
It was a good game. It went to overtime. So yeah, it was a good game. And the best player in the world won the game for Canada. Connor McDavid, he's an alien. He's so good. It's like a thing amongst pro sports, like pro athletes of the major four sports as far as disparity and skill set.
Yeah.
He has the greatest disparity amongst his peers. He's the best athlete at
by a long shot.
By a freakishly long shot.
Yeah.
Which is awesome that he scored. US played a great game. That Brady Kachuk, he must have thrown 3-4 big hits. And it's awesome because he plays in the Brady Kachuk, the US kid. He's 25 maybe, but he plays in Ottawa. So here in the US, we don't really see his game, but he is such a savage of a hockey player. He hits, he fights, he gets his. There's one clip, I'll have to show it. The US players were kind of laughing. So the play gets whistled dead, the goalie covers the puck. So when players come together and they kind of face washed a little bit and there's a scrum and then they just skate away kind of thing, no penalties.
Yeah.
Well, there's 3 US players and there's 3 Canadian players, and then the US player, Brady Kachuk, he skates over and he just starts face washing one guy and grabs another guy kind of by the sweater. And they're like, dude, what the hell? You can read their lips in the YouTube clip. And then he just turns around and just skates away. Just nothing happened. He just goes to rile shit up.
He's just riling them up just to rile them up.
Yeah, and the US players kind of laugh a little bit. The camera zooms in on them and you can see them kind of laughing. But yeah, it was a tough loss. But it's great for the game of hockey. Like I said, people now know how good that kid is. He's so good. That kid's an absolute beast. So they lost, but it sets up for a great Olympics for next year. And it was great for the game. Nobody cares about the All-Star game. It's just a waste of time. This was an experiment and they crushed it. The viewership was huge. It was over 1.5 million people watched the game, which is pretty awesome. Yeah. Obviously,
having seen the game, obviously I know it's over now, but would you have liked to have been at that game?
Yeah, I would have liked to. And the US didn't really boo their national anthem, which is good. I think.
What,
I thought
their own national anthem or the Canadian national
Canadian,
anthem?
just because
Got it.
they booed like crazy.
Yeah.
National anthem. And being in Boston, I thought it was, they're gonna like throw batteries at the players or, you know, well that didn't happen. So it was a good game. Uh, Tough turnout of the game, but great game. So yeah.
What else did you do this weekend? Anything exciting?
What did we do? I feel like we did watch the game and then I think we did something. Oh yeah, back on the ice. That's fun. Back playing again. I think I tweaked my back. I'm just getting old. So I do yoga now.
You
Every
are an old man.
Yeah, I do yoga every morning now. It's fun to be on the ice. I forgot how good some of those players are. We play with like ex-pros, so yeah, even though they're in like their 50s, they're still like really good at hockey. Like
Mhm.
they were professional athlete at one point, and you can still tell they are very good. So that was fun. And it's just fun being on the ice in the rink, in the dressing room with the guys. So
Is it snowing over there right now or no?
not now. Now it's like 60 degrees, but it snowed like hell a couple nights ago, which is good. We need more snow. I like the cold weather.
It's almost March.
I know, which is usually when it snows the most.
Really?
Excuse me. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, Thinking about going to the mountains this weekend. We're going to Charlotte in about a month. That'll be fun. And yeah, excited to play more hockey. I've taken a lot of time off, so um, yeah, that's it.
And you're getting old, so you can't really afford to take time off. You'll dry up like an old engine. Things will start seizing.
Like an
It's
old
like
Buick.
putting oil back in it.
Yeah, like an old Buick. Pistons don't work anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, it was good to be out. It was fun.
Cool. All
So
right. Well, this is episode 96 of the podcast. It's great. It's Lisa. We love Lisa. She's so helpful. And honestly, if you're listening to this and you run a dispensary or you run a dispensary's marketing campaign, you really need to pay attention because she came up with some really great ideas in terms of marketing and how you can reach the specific people you want to reach, or things you can do in the run up to not just 420, but like any specific holiday or event coming up. And also, I did not know this because clearly I didn't pay attention, but 420 and Easter are the same day this year.
uh,
That poses quite a problem, for people who celebrate the holiday. So a dispensary is going to do 419, or are they going to do 421, or how are they going to play it? So she just always has really great ideas, but I think that's because she comes from a marketing background, in terms of like loyalty programs, social media engagement, emails, that kind of thing. But she has some, again, really great ideas. I always really enjoy talking to her. So yeah, give it a listen. You can find us on LinkedIn. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I'm missing something.
or just on the website.
Yeah, on the website. And then you can like, comment, subscribe, review. We do like reviews, questions, concerns, not concerns, no, really concerns. And anything you want us, any topics that you want us to go over. We're always open to some suggestions. I think shortly coming up, we might be adding a new voice to our podcasts because you're probably sick of hearing from, well, not me.
Well, her, yeah.
No, it's always nice to add. I think that's one of the reasons that we bring in guests is just to change things around a little bit outside of the fact that they always bring a really unique perspective to the podcast. But yeah, we'll be adding another voice periodically to the podcast. So yeah, I think that's it for now. I have 11 books I need to be reading, so I got to get on with that. Charlie probably has nothing to do.
Anyway,
Anyway, moving on. Have a fantastic week. We'll be back next week when we will be in March. And I will probably be complaining about the fact that in a few days' time, the clocks will be going forward.
Kaz complaining.
Shocker.
Shocking. That's it. Peace.
Bye-bye. Hi. Welcome back to the High Rankings podcast. It's me, Kaz. I'm by myself today because Charlie is busy. And we have Lisa Williams from the TOKE Agency back with us again. It's weird doing this without Charlie, I have to say, as annoying as he can be. He's also my sidekick. So it's kind of going to be weird for me, hopefully not for you. But I'm going to do my very best. He's always good to have someone to bounce things off, and he also has a different perspective on things, and he's a lot more data driven than I am. So it will be weird, but we can do things without Charlie. We don't need him.
You got this.
We got this. All right. So welcome back to Lisa. Lisa is the founder of the TOKE Agency, which is a leading cannabis marketing firm. She is also the CEO of It's Simply Digital, where they help businesses to streamline their digital marketing strategies. And as if that didn't take up all of her time, she is also the CEO of Hello Again, which is a wellness product company, which I just learned a little bit about before we went live. And it sounds like super fascinating. This is the second time that we've been lucky enough to have Lisa on, which, considering that you have 3 companies that you're running and products that you're launching, we're very thankful to have you back on. So last time we talked a little bit about how you even came into the cannabis industry, how that was sort of influenced by COVID and unemployment. And then that obviously led to your now full-time role within digital marketing. And then we also discussed how you help dispensaries run loyalty programs. And at the time, I think you had about 60 clients in 5 states. And obviously with them, you work with their content creation, their brand awareness, their graphic creation, content calendars, social media, and then engagement on social media. And obviously the thing that you pride yourself in, where you think that you shine with your business, which by the way is women owned and operated, which actually makes sense for this podcast because we don't
right.
is brand strategy. So missions, values, purposes, how your clients want to be seen in the world, and also the kind of clients and customers that they want to attract. And I remember thinking last time we talked about 3 mistakes that you see dispensaries making or businesses making in general in terms of their marketing. And then you also gave us 3 strategies that they can implement in order to elevate their brand awareness. So I'm not going to go into that, because if you want to hear that, you got to go back and listen to that.
Right.
78 it was. So I'm not going to give that information away. You got to go back and listen. So this episode, I think what we want to focus on is 420, because it is coming up so fast. I can't believe we're almost at the end of February. So we want to talk about how best you can use your marketing dollars for the best ROI you can get. And also go over how dispensaries can gear up for 420. And then after 420, what can they do in order to retain those customers? That was a lot. I'm sorry. Welcome back. How are you? What's new in your business world? Is there anything that's been big changes for you within your realm of your multi-company juggling balls that you have?
Yeah. Well, Kaz, thank you so much for the warm welcome and the introduction. And I'm excited to be back with you. And it's a girls' hour, right?
We should have had cocktail. It's a bit early, but cocktails.
It's a bit early. So, gosh, so much is going on. We are still continuing to work with new clients. We have expanded and we're now in a couple of other states. So we're learning the regulations of different states. And what we're finding, honestly, as a team, because I do have a women-owned and operated team, is a lot of people don't understand their loyalty program. They don't understand how to explain it to the customer. They don't know how to invite the customer into their loyalty program. And then they don't know how to utilize it the right way. And so what we're finding is discounts are easy, right? You could easily say 20% off, BOGO, free pre-roll, whatever it is. But it's really challenging to figure out your loyalty system, your loyalty program and the different levels and your buyer journey. And that's where an agency like the TOKE Agency helps, figure all that out.
Mm-hmm. So how many states are you in now, did you say?
I think we're in 7 or 8 states now.
So that's a lot of
Yeah.
different locations to understand what the regulations are, the rules are. Yeah, what you can, what you can't say, what you can, what you can't do.
Right, right.
Keep
Like
learning.
overarching, it's cannabis, right? So don't say the word cannabis on social media or weed or joint or whatever.
Mhm.
Don't post pictures of people smoking on social media. But then again, with loyalty, there's even some regulations like how often you could send, how they could opt in, all these things come into play. And so it's, that's where we come in and we learn what your state regulations are. And we already know we're certified with Alpine IQ, we're certified with Spring Big, we're working with Happy Cabbage. So all of these platforms we already are very familiar with. And we tie that, when you tie that into your POS system and you start developing your loyalty program, you start figuring out how you could get your customers to come back without spraying them with discounts all the time.
Yeah. Sometimes you just get too many emails. I'm learning that. I actually this morning like unsubscribe. I had flown Frontier Airlines a few back in January up to Ohio, and now every single day I'm like, I don't need an email. Like I'm not flying every day. Like
Right. I
I
don't
don't,
need an email.
yeah,
Yeah. And
it's
then
a
there's
balance.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's that fine line of how often do you send a message versus when do you send a message? And, keeping top of mind is one thing, but bombarding them is another.
Do you find, obviously, because you've got quite a lot of clients now and you're spread throughout various states, do you find that there is a big disparity between what might work for one client versus what might work for another in terms of frequency of communication? Do you find it differs between states, or is it kind of just all over the map as far as that goes?
Well, I think one of the things that we've done really well over the last 3+ years working with dispensaries is we've created and refined our process and our systems so that we can plug and play with whatever dispensary that we happen to be working with some tweaks and some, refining. But we have an SOP. We have created, a manual per se, like processes, systems of how to create a loyalty program, how to implement a loyalty program, how to message this to your client, to your customers. We've refined that. And so I think that's where when a new customer comes to us, a new client comes to us, it's easy for us to ask the questions and find out where their pain points are so that we know what to plug and play into
Because
their
you've
dispensary.
filed and errored it over the years.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
even if there is a disparity, it's not something that you can't necessarily easily overcome because you've already put the work in prior.
right, right. And then we just refine it based on state regulations or whatever their dispensary wants to look and feel or whatever they decide, I don't want to be doing this or I want to be doing this. And so we were able to mold it and shape it into a curated little package for a client. And but the basis is the same.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So one of the reasons that we really wanted you on now is because obviously your agency is really great with not just the brand loyalty aspect of the marketing, but the brand recognition, but also the loyalty programs and client customer retention. And 420 is the biggest day for cannabis dispensaries, like by far.
Right. Right.
So that's going to be a time when a lot of dispensaries are going to be seeing potentially new customers, or maybe a customer that returns like once or twice. So it was kind of married really well between 420s coming up. Oh, okay, how can we help our dispensary listeners really like grab hold of those, those customers? So in the lead up to 420, like prior to and the day of, like, could you give me like maybe 4 or 5 things that you would suggest to your client that they do in the lead up to? And then after that, we'll discuss about the being able to retention of those customers. But just like leading up to 420, if I was a client with a dispensary, your client, like what things would you suggest to me that I do in preparation for that?
Right. So you should have already been starting to think about 420 even prior to this. I mean, that should have been a conversation that you were having with your team probably in early February. And the reason I say this is I think customers who are walking into a dispensary want to experience something, and it's your job as a dispensary owner to create that experience for them.
Right.
So it's beyond that transaction of them walking in and purchasing weed. Like you could walk in anywhere and purchase weed into any dispensary. So how do you differentiate yourself, and how do you create that experience for your customer? And so you should start to think about, what do I want to do that's different, that's special, that's unique, to create an experience? Do we want to have a band? Do we want to have giveaways? Do we want to have a food truck? Do we want to have, brand activations where we're partnering with different brands within the space, and they're coming and they're showcasing either a new product drop or a deal or something like that. So you should already start to have these conversations with brand partners. You should already be thinking about, what kind of, do you want to serve food? Do you want to serve infused drinks? What is it that we're gonna create for our customers, and how does that look? And those should already be something that you're starting to think of. The other thing that you should start to think of is, well, and I'll give you, this is a really great deal, a really great example, because this year Easter and 420 are on the same day. So you have to decide how you want to show up, right? Because you are going to have a lot of people who are going to go to church, to spend time with their family, probably not be going to a dispensary on 420 if Easter is something that they're going to partake in and something that's special to them. So starting to think, what do we want to do? Do we want to do something on 419? Do we want to wait to the day after and do something on 421? So you should already be having these conversations with your bud tenders, with your managers, with your team. These all should already be something that you've ironed out.
Right. Yeah. Solid. I actually did not know that it was on the same day. That's interesting. Yeah.
Right. And so, it's a religious holiday. We live in the United States where, people practice religion. And so, even though they might smoke cannabis and they, might want a good deal and it's 420, they're probably going to opt to spend time with their family or go to church or have a brunch or, whatever that looks like. And so how can you still capitalize on the 420 experience and still give them everything that they need or want or desire, but it's not specifically on that day?
Yeah, like, do you push it on the Saturday so that
Right.
everybody has it prior to the holiday?
Right.
That maybe there's dispensaries that aren't open on a Sunday, or they're not open on a religious holiday of whichever holiday. So yeah, but you're right, that have been way thought out before now, because even whether you're running a marketing campaign using emails, social media, or whether you're running an SEO campaign, all of these take time. You can't be like, oh, it's end of March. We've like, from our point of view, we would be working on the SEO aspect of that.
Right. And here's just another example. I read after the Super Bowl, Starbucks came up with a fill your cup up from like the Sunday hangover from, on Monday morning.
Yeah.
And so instead of running an ad over during the Super Bowl or running ads or doing any kind of promotion around the Super Bowl or leading up to the Super Bowl, they opted to go the day after and still take the advantage of what was going on. Like, come nurse your Super Bowl hangover on Monday. So there's ways to capitalize on 420 if you really start to think outside the box as a dispensary.
Yeah. And I think from Starbucks' perspective, the financial impact of doing that the day after versus doing it either in the lead up or during, I think would be, it's kind of like you buy Easter candy the day after Easter, right?
Right. Right. And just think about the cost that it saved them as a company from a marketing standpoint, but they're still capitalizing on the Super Bowl name, experience, come nurse your hangover or come, you might have celebrated too much or you might need to drown your sorrow, whatever I don't remember their marketing campaign or what they said in it, but I thought it was brilliant that they took advantage of an event that is a nationwide event, but they didn't spend any marketing dollars leading up to it or the day of.
There was no ad during the, yeah.
No. So this would just be a great time for a dispensary to take a look at their calendar, at their stock, whatever they have in inventory, and I know it's hard because we're in February and we're telling you to start thinking about something that's going to happen late April. And so you don't know what your inventory is going to look like at that time, but you do know how to prepare, right? So do you need to stock up on something because you already know that this brand or these vapes or these pre-rolls, they always sell out or they always do, or people love these or whatever. So you want to make sure that you're looking at your inventory as well. You want to make sure that you're preparing your staff and that they are understanding the importance of, how do we run people through the dispensary? You should have a line for pickup. Always, 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 you should have a line for pickup if you have online orders. That way people could come in and get them. And then maybe you have newbies that are coming in that are kind of curious because it is 420. And so you need to have some educational type of information. You need to have bud tenders that are going to be able to explain, this is, this is a pre-roll and this is a vape and this is a gummy and this one enhances sleep and this one, enhances your mood, so you need to have some educational information as well.
So I want to tie this in to something that I had seen relating to what you've been doing lately, which is your evergreen win back campaign that you did.
Mm-hmm.
Before we get to the retention of the new customers that come in on 420, and I'm tying this in specifically because I thought it was fascinating what you had done was, so we're in the lead up to 420, we're figuring out our marketing plan. We know we've had customers that have been in once, maybe twice before, but a while ago. We want to get them back into our dispensary on 420, not one of the other hundreds that's in town, but our one. So
Right.
I'm really fascinated to learn a bit more about your evergreen win back campaign, like what you learned from that. Give us a little bit of information about it, obviously, but then what did you learn from that you're going to be able to take forward in terms of loyalty from that step forward?
So chances are 50% of your customers will never return. And it's probably higher than 50%. It's probably more like 75%. And so how do you keep them coming back to your dispensary? That is your ultimate goal, is to keep your customers coming because you spent marketing dollars to get them in and now you want them to come back. And so you are able to segment through an Alpine IQ or a Spring Big or a Happy Cabbage through your back end system. Through Blaze, through, Cova, any of your systems that you have set up, you're able to segment your markets based on their buying behavior and based on their purchase habits. And so you could go and you could segment, okay, these people haven't been in my dispensary in the last 30 days. These people haven't been in my dispensary in the last 60 days. These people haven't been in the last 90 days. So, all right, we're already, 2 months away from 420. And so how do we start hitting these people and segmenting them and building up this excitement to get them to come back? And one of the things that I love to really talk about and really get our dispensaries to understand is entice them with loyalty rather than discounts. I'm not saying don't ever do discounts. I think they serve a purpose and I think you need them. And we use them and we encourage our customers, our clients to use them. I mean, they serve a purpose.
Yeah.
But instead of saying, 50% off, you could give them a discount, but you could also say, and we're going to double your loyalty points. Or we have a special curated, basket of goodies that, that you could purchase, based on your purchase habits or based on your buyer habits. So you have to really start to narrow down that personalization, and it helps entice your customers to come back. So for example, let's say I haven't been to your dispensary in the last 30 days. The last time I was there, I bought, I don't even know if this is a flavor, blueberry wild gummies. Okay. And so now you have blueberry wild gummies on sale or a discount or a special or whatever. Well, you're going to want to target me and you're going to want to say, Lisa, guess what? We know that you like blueberry wild gummies. You need to come in because they're on special or there's a deal. And if you come in with, and show us that you opened this email or whatever it is, or click this email, we're going to give you double loyalty points. I mean, there's just ways to be creative around this. Now, I'm a shopper. I buy blueberry wild gummies. You have BOGO on vapes or pre-rolls. Are you going to send that to me? No, I don't care about pre-rolls.
No.
I like blueberry wild gummies. And so it's wasting your time, your energy, and your effort on somebody who's not going to care about that particular product. So it's so important to personalize, hyper-personalize your messages and segment your market. So one of the things that you should be doing right now is doing some 30, 60, maybe it's more like 15, 30, 45 days, and start getting these customers to come back. And maybe you could say, come back and get signed up for our 420, whatever. We're going to have, a private lounge. We're going to have a party, whatever it is. And you just start building that excitement up in their head and start building that brand awareness.
I know when in our last podcast, we talked a little bit about like your email box getting oversaturated because I think Charlie had bought a bike recently and I bought a Coach purse or something. And we were talking about how it definitely didn't feel like they were targeted specifically at us. And it felt more like, oh, now we've got your email address, boom, 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 boom. And then what you get is like, from personal experience, I'm sure literally everybody listening is the same way. You see that brand pop up in your email and you just delete before you open it because you're just like, them again, versus literally the data that you have at your fingertips from your POS system. Like it's there, right? You're paying for it for a reason. So why not really we all know I'm not the data person in this company. I am not. It is, but I understand how important it is. So if you're paying for, you've got that data and it's right there, like you need to be using it in the best possible way. So exactly like you said, if you know this guy has only ever come in twice and both times he's come in, he's bought gummies, why are you sending him emails for literally everything else when he's got zero interest in it? You get fatigued. Right. And they're not going to pay attention to your emails.
Right. And so then that helps save your inbox because you're only sending personalized messages and you're using your POS to hyper segment these markets and really figure out, okay, these people shop for gummies, these people shop for vapes, these people shop for flour. a very specific type of flower, and there, when you're really diving into the data and you're segmenting it, there's not this fatigue or this overwhelm. I think that there's 3 ways to approach loyalty. So one is you definitely want them in your program, right? Because then they could start building points. So that's like just a very basic. 2 is to start with the personalization and start with the segmentation, because then you're starting to hit the customer where they're at, meaning what you just said. If I'm buying a Coach purse, chances are I'm not buying another Coach purse, but I might buy a coin purse. I might buy a little wallet. I might buy an accessory bag.
Yeah.
So those are the things that you want to be sending to your customer. I'm using your example as from Coach. And then the third thing is creating the experience, which ties back into what I first said at the very beginning, is how can you create this experience for your customers? One of the things that I had mentioned, or I think one of my customers had mentioned, is they creating something fun, whether it's like you pull something out of a box and you get an extra percentage off because you're a loyal customer, or you signed up today to become part of the loyalty program, and then you get to pull something out of the box or spin the wheel or drop the marble. Create something fun. What's also super popular is childlike games, like play games, do some kind of game that you did as a kid and incorporate that into your loyalty program to get people to sign up. Creative, outside of the box, unique thinking to create that experience. So there's 3 parts to this. 1, just getting their email. 2, starting to personalize it. And 3, getting their email, personalizing it, and creating the experience.
So with your evergreen win back, is that what you did? You just focused on the data-driven information that you had in terms of who had been in, when they'd been in, what they bought, and then focused those, like really drilled down on those emails and focused on that to get them to come back in? Is that how that campaign went?
Yeah. So we have a case study on our website. It's Win 'em Back or Win Back campaign or whatever. And we did a 60, 90, and 120-day win back campaign. And it generated over $15,000 within a 30-day period for that dispensary. We had an average open rate of 40%. And I'm looking at my notes as I'm talking to you. We had a click-through rate of 6% and an average conversion rate of 4%. So these are revenue generating ideas. They just need to be implemented, and they need to be consistent, and you need to make sure. So you need to make sure that you're consistent. And one of the things that I run into a lot when a client or a potential client calls me and they're like, well, what's stopping me from running the campaigns myself rather than hiring you? And I'm like, you can, but are you doing it?
I was going to say the same thing that stopped you all this time. You haven't done it.
Right. They're not doing it. So, and we have proven systems and processes, and we know, like this example that I just told you where we won them back $15,000. That's $15,000 that walked out their door. And if you would not have hit them with those win back campaigns, you would have never seen it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that pays, for us multiple times over.
Yeah, exactly. And also I think having a company like yours come in, it's fresh ideas. You're looking at a dispensary's marketing department or their campaigns or lack of, with a completely different perspective, new eyeballs, but on top of that, experience. So it's not just like, well, I can do this myself. Yeah, you could have, but you never would have thought about it, and it's not right. I'm not dogging on them, because everybody has different ideas and everybody approaches things differently. But that's why you bring in an agency like yours, because they are fresh, they are new, they have new ideas, they have the finger on the pulse in terms of what works. And you've got access to not only their data, but data of campaigns you've run previously,
right,
in terms of it, whether it's effective or not,
Right. And there's also three of us who do marketing and who talk to multiple dispensaries throughout the week. And so we are hearing what they're doing, what they're not doing, what's working, what's not working. And we're taking this collective information and we're creating a depository for it. And then we get to come up with, curated campaigns for our clients and share. I mean, we created a fresh ideas document for one of our clients, and we listed probably 50 fresh ideas that they could use today to start implementing in their marketing campaigns. One of our clients, let's go back to December. Every dispensary runs a 12 days of something, Cushmas, Christmas, cannabis, whatever you want to call it. And so guess what's going to happen to the consumer? They're inundated and overwhelmed. Their phone is blowing up every single day with the 12 days of cannabis or however you break it down. How can you be different? How can you be unique? How can you not do the 12 days, but still capitalize on that time and get your customers to come in the door? So these are things that we put together that, for our clients, coming up with fresh ideas.
Yeah, because it's so repetitive. And then what happens is when they're all doing the same thing, you don't know which dispensary it is. Like, oh, I remember seeing an email for the 12 days of Christmas and the dispensary's got 10% off this particular vape I like. But the problem is all 10 of them in my town have emailed me and I don't remember which one it was because it's not standing out and they're all doing the same thing. And I mean, that happens across so many different businesses and genres. And like I'm a big reader, and here at Christmas on YouTube, it's the same. It's booktubers. They all do the same. Either the calendar, the 12 countdown, whatever it is, and it's oversaturating. And but you want to be heard amongst all of that noise. But you have to do something really unique in order to be overheard above all that noise. And what is that? I mean, I'm not a so I don't know, but I understand what you're saying. There's all this noise here and you're in the mix, but somehow you need to be here. But you don't have 12 days, but you got to do something.
Yeah. So whether you give away swag, whether you give away a very special ornament, whether you give away a unique, small gifts, whatever that looks like for you, for your dispensary. And we work with our clients to help brainstorm ideas, but just getting away from the everyday deals. And this goes back to my comment about the Starbucks doing something different, except for, they're not doing anything leading up to the Super Bowl. They're not doing anything on the day of the Super Bowl. They're doing something the day after. So sorry, I know that was loud. So I don't know, what that looks like for your dispensary, whether it's doing something on New Year's instead, or the day after Christmas, or I don't know what that looks like, but there's ways to kind of think outside the box.
And what will be interesting, like following the Starbucks Super Bowl strategy is you'll know that they got it right when the next Super Bowl, it's not just them doing it, right? It's the same as the 12-day countdown, right? Somebody initially got it right because everybody's doing it.
Right.
It's fascinating to see next February, who does this, who else is doing this strategy?
Right.
Oh, we can save millions of dollars by not doing it on Sunday.
Let's do it on Monday. The other thing that, going back to creating an experience for your customers, is maybe you have like a first look Friday where there's a new product drop and only your loyal customers get to come in and experience that on a Friday. Or you have like a bud tender contest, and you kind of create this contest internally with your bud tenders, and they get bonuses and swag, for helping educate the customers, for helping upsell, for helping, whatever it is that you're looking. The other thing is offer exclusive times for your loyal customers to shop. So for 420, if you are closed on that particular day on 420, which is this time, it's Easter Sunday, and you open on 419, which everyone's going to call 419, 420, have exclusive hours for your loyal customers. So if you're on our loyalty program and you're, in our programming, you're one of our loyal customers, you get to come in between these hours and these hours, but we normally open at 9 or 10 or whatever. The other thing is you could segment your market with your data and find your top customers, your top spending customers, and you could do a step further and they get exclusive access to certain things.
So they get basically like first dibs because the chances are you're going to sell out of things on 420.
Right. So maybe your top tiered customers get to come in between 7 and 8. Maybe your loyal customers get to come in between 8 and 9. And maybe you open at 9 a.m. I mean, these are just examples of ways to create super valuable experiences for your customers. Going back to brand activations, maybe you have a brand on site for 420 or 419, and again, segmenting your market and figuring out, okay, this brand is going to be here represented at my dispensary between the hours of 10 and 12. I really want to segment my market and hit those people who like that brand to let them know, and also to invite a friend because maybe they get a special something if they bring their friend.
Yeah, their friend signs up for the loyalty program. Now you get 10% off, they get 10% off.
Right.
I'm going to run that. Yeah.
Right. There's so many ways to break it up and to really just be creative. I mean, I think I've said that probably 3 or 4 times today, but you want to stand out. You want to be different. So when somebody's zigging, you're zagging.
Yeah, it is literally about rising above everybody else somehow, some way. And yeah, and that's why you need to tap into your bud tenders because they know your customers, they know your market, they know your dispensary. They've got ideas that you probably don't even know that they have if you're not talking to them. So yeah, 100%. So okay, so we've had 420 or 419 or 421, however they're going to play this. We've got returning customers, we've got new customers, we've won back some customers, they've come in, they've visited, they've bought something. Now what? How do we keep those guys?
Yeah, don't let that momentum go away.
Yeah.
So now you're hitting them with your email campaigns and your text campaigns. And so maybe if they're the first time shopper, you're going to start their journey of you want them to come back, please come back in 7 days, come back in 10 days, and you hit them with emails or text. And then maybe it's somebody who hasn't been back to your dispensary, but you won them back. They came back after 30 days. Great to see you. Would love to have you back. However you frame this up, but here's an extra, here's some extra loyalty points to bring a friend or to come again, or we're having this, brand activation, or we're having a party, or we're having, a new product drop or whatever. So inviting them to come back, but you want to stay top of mind. So you have to be consistent with your email and text campaigns constantly, letting them know about educational information. The other thing, Kaz, is dispensaries really need to be involved in their community. And so letting them know about community activities, anything that you're involved in, that your dispensary is involved in, anything that y'all are doing in the community, start getting them to come back and get involved with you.
Yeah, I was just thinking, it's kind of like a Target or a big box store or Hallmark or whatever. It's like even before one holiday's ended, they've moved on to another one, And shortly after 420, of course, you've got Memorial Day, then you've got July 4th, and then you've got, other holidays. But I think particularly things like Memorial Day and July 4th and what those holidays represent, that's when you can really obviously use that for marketing, for loyalty points or whatever you're going to do in terms of discounts, whatever. But also, what have you been doing in the community as a dispensary to towards those holidays, right? So have you been out there working with veterans what have you been doing that makes a tie into that holiday? I know we talked about this last time. We had a client of ours. They were hugely involved in the community, and they have multiple locations, and each location is like its little own, little zone, and they
Right.
work within their community. They have pages on their website that promote their community, whether it's cleaning up a park or whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm.
They're so involved in their community. And every time I think about this dispensary, that's what comes to mind, how community driven they are. And I think that also plays a part in the education about the cannabis industry as a whole. It's had a bad rap over the years, not so much now with more and more knowledge coming about the medicinal benefits. But sure, in the past, it was like, oh, people that smoke weed are just stoners and they're not
Right.
members of society and they don't, but if you can tie
Right.
in the good community work that you do, the great community relations with the cannabis, the negativity starts to go away. So now they remember you for what you do, and they remember that, hey, not everybody that buys cannabis is is useless or not productive, or
Right.
they think
Right. Right. So yeah, and the other thing, like you said, tap into your bud tenders. They are a wealth of knowledge, and they are talking to your customers every single day. Interview them. Ask them, what kind of questions are customers asking? What do you see that they're wanting? And those are things that you could start to use in your loyalty programs, in your text and email campaigns. Start answering those questions. Start providing that information. Put it out on social media. I mean, I personally, if I owned a dispensary, I would have weekly meetings with my bud tenders where they would have to just dispel what all the questions are that customers are coming in and asking.
100%. And I will tell you that that's a great way of tying into SEO, because obviously with SEO, we write a lot of blogs, for example. We do a lot of pages on websites that are like informational. And
Mm-hmm.
we try and keep our finger on the pulse. We'll look at social medias. We'll look at questions being asked even on things like Reddit and stuff. Like, what is topical at the moment? What are people asking about in the moment? Maybe there's about a new product or something. But yeah, if I ran SEO, if I worked in a dispensary and ran SEO for a dispensary, I'm asking my bud tenders who's been asking what, because now I can take that, maybe frame it the same way, a different way, but now I can write a blog post about it with SEO in mind. Like maybe I can run an email campaign about this one particular product because it's selling like hotcakes and it's super popular, and I can see 50 people bought it in the last week. So, okay, I can market this now,
Yeah.
send a text or an email or
And
whatever.
Kaz, you could tie your emails into SEO so easily. You have a blog post about a particular topic or event or whatever it is that you wrote the blog post on. Tie your email campaign and link it back to the blog post so that you start to get people to go to the blog post and read more. So you give them a little teaser in the email or a little snippet in the email, and then you want them to open that email or click on the blog post to read more. I mean, there's so many ways to tie this whole ecosystem together.
Oh, very much so. They go hand in hand, because once you got to the blog post, now there's a link to buy that product, and it's
Correct.
It's like, oh, there's my email. Oh yeah, no, I do like that particular vape product. Oh, there's a blog on it. I wonder what's happening with that.
Right.
The new flake makes something else. But I think your bud tenders are like, I'm not saying this is the case in every dispensary by any means, but I don't think they're tapped into enough. I think they're a wealth of knowledge. I think they are like not the first line of defense, but they know. They know Bob that comes in every Tuesday and buys the same thing. Oh, but this week Bob bought something different. Interesting. Okay, like they know more than they could ever write down because it's all up here,
Right. And then also, your security guards who are checking in your customers into your dispensary. If the same security guard is there every Tuesday from, 10 to 5, chances are they're going to recognize your regulars and they're going to know information as well. So, get out on the floor and ask your people and tap into them. because there's a lot of, and the other thing is go shop at other dispensaries yourself.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you like? What do you don't like? Yeah.
Yeah. Figure out the experience and how you're different.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like secret shopping, but in
Secret shopping. Or send a bud tender, or send your spouse or your brother or your sister or somebody. Yeah.
That's great. That's a great way. Well,
yeah.
I think that just about wraps us up, because I know you're super busy and we're close to running out of time. But that's some really great insights. And hopefully people will be listening to this episode and making notes and writing it down. Maybe we'll see. Hopefully.
Thank you.
Thank you once again for your time. We very much appreciate it. I apologize for Charlie not being here, but also it was kind of nice. So
it was kind of fun. So thanks, Kaz. It was great. I loved being on here, and thanks for inviting me back again. I'm honored. I really am. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the High Rankings podcast, brought to you by Dispensary-Growth, the preeminent SEO agency for dispensaries. Thank you for tuning in. We hope you found value in the insight and the tips we shared. If you did, please hit that subscribe button. And if you're feeling super generous, we would love it if you left us a review. If there's a specific topic you'd like us to cover in a future episode, or if you have any questions, you can go ahead and find us on LinkedIn or YouTube. We'll see you next time.